Good morning, amazing people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jess Henley. If we haven't met before, it is amazing to meet you. I pray you are having an amazing day wherever you are, or night, or lunchtime, sneaky lunchtime out the back on the phone, whatever. I pray that it is amazing. Now, before we get into it, if you haven't done so before, please subscribe to my channel, because why not? What you got to lose? All my social media links are listed below, as well as the links to all the gear that I use, all down below. So if you're interested, check it out. Today I want to talk to you about my testimony. My testimony. Ooh. Yes, my testimony on how I met Jesus and how he completely transformed my life in ways that just words cannot describe. So let's get into it. Okay, so my background, I come from a completely non-churched background. In fact, when I was little and I asked to go to Sunday school with my friends, my dad told me that if I ever met God, I would punch him in the face, because look at the state of the world. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to Sunday school. The most that I knew about Jesus and God and all the rest of it was pretty much what you see in the shopping centers at Christmas time and what you would learn in scripture at school. So very basic knowledge. So there was no religious influence in my upbringing at all. In fact, it was probably negative influence, because I then used that as, you know, my own sort of ammo when people would try and talk religious stuff to me down the track. So I guess I'm pretty typical Australian family. We didn't have much money. My parents ended up getting divorced when I was about in year 10, I think, and then met their next partners. And so my parents left and moved away, and I just kind of did my own thing. So I went into the workforce. I actually did student exchange in America for a year. Anyway, so I did that, and I kind of went from my broken home here in Australia to a broken home there, and just didn't really find, I guess, what I was looking for, which I had no idea what that was. So back I came, and then I was 18 and I had a boyfriend. I was in the party scene. I was going out clubbing, loving life, you know, just being a party animal. So of course that led to a lot of heartbreak and emptiness, and I just had this real anxiety of what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I wanted to do something significant. I knew that I wanted to do something and probably for the wrong reasons, because we grew up with no money and stuff like that. I wanted that status. I wanted that kind of yeah, look at me now, that kind of attitude. So that wasn't cool. So anyway, but I ended up going to uni. I became a dental assistant through a friend, and I fell in love with it. I've always loved medical stuff and figuring out how things work. I love that stuff. But the whole death and dying part freaked me out. So I just, But teeth is amazing. It's kind of gross, kind of cool, kind of funky, and there's not really any dying. So it was perfect for me. So I love that. And in that span of time, I met some really dodgy people that were Christians, and it just left a really bad taste in my mouth. It hurt me. I wanted nothing to do with this Jesus that they were talking about, and pretty much what they were saying and how they were acting did not line up at all. So it didn't make sense to me. So I was done. I wanted nothing to do with religion or any of that stuff. Fast forward a little bit more time. I met my son's dad, and we started dating, and in the middle of that I went over and worked overseas for a little bit in London and did a Contiki tour through Europe, did the whole bit. Anyway, so I came back and I actually fell pregnant at the age of 20. And the people around me's answer to that was just to get rid of it and just be done. But something inside of me couldn't do that, so I went ahead with the pregnancy, and that resulted in my beautiful son Aiden, who is now 11. Makes me feel so old. And so yeah, and unfortunately that relationship broke down. We just grew apart. We had different views on life. So I moved back home before my son was even 1. So I was like, I don't know, like 21, 22. And because I moved back home, I just went feral. I kind of partied, and I was a responsible mom, but I was also going out at nighttime and just I don't know, I was just searching. I don't know, I was always searching. There's something, what, I don't know. Anyway, so I was like, right, okay, I'm going to do this. I've got my son now. I'm going to go to uni, and I'm going to study to be a dental hygienist, and then I'm going to study to be a dentist, and then we will be set for life. It's going to be amazing. So I was actually in uni for dental hygiene, and I'd had heartbreak, and I was broken, and I was just a mess. I was partied out, you know, the whole drugs club, all that scene. I was just sad. I was sad, and I was broken, and I was lonely, and I felt, because I'd already had a baby, that I was just worthless, like nobody would want me, and I was done. So I was pretty broken. I was broken. And then as I look back, I can see the people and places and things that God has put in my life, just beckoning me to, and softening my heart towards the idea of Him and who He was. So through some friends, you know, how can I explain this? So through some friends whose parents were Christians, and they had been brought up in that sort of environment, but not so strict, I guess I want to say. One of them mentioned to me, my mum told me that she was up all night praying for you. And that just blew my mind. I was like, what? Why? Like, why? Who would be up all night praying? Like, that is weird. And why would she be doing it for me? So and that just sparked something in my mind, just like, you know, like what was that? It's something in my mind just clicked. Oh, and a side note, going back, so when I was in London and working and living, I remember walking through the London Art Gallery, and I love museums and art, like I'm just crazily obsessed. History and all the rest of it. And I remember just walking through aisles and aisles and aisles of paintings, and they were all religious, all of them. And I remember thinking, maybe there is something to this religious thing, because all through history, and of course I'm Australian, so we're a very baby country, and we just don't have that kind of history here. So I just remember thinking, wow, like this is a pretty prominent thing that has stood through the decades of time. Anyway, that's just a side note of my little, like, another time that I just ping, like, what is that? Curiosity peaked. Anyway, so where was I? Yes, the friend's mom praying for me, and my good friend, he actually asked me to go to church with him, and he said to me, right, my parents are starting a church, and if I have to go, you have to go. And I was like, no way, man, I'm not going to church. That's for freaks. Anyway, we wrestled about it, and he dragged me along, and just like a rebel, I stood at the back smoking in the car park, and just, you know, being a feral, just rebel without a cause. And I remember whatever the preacher said that day, it was like he was speaking to me, right to me, like, and it didn't leave my mind, and I I don't know, it was just, it was, you know, those moments, it was crazy. So over the next few months, I'll say, if I wasn't too hungover, I would go into church. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to make any friends. I just wanted to go to listen to what this guy had to say. And every time it just smacked me right in my spirit, and I just came away like so confused. Anyway, so a situation happened with a boy and I was left really heartbroken, and I just was like, ah. So what did I do? I picked up the random Bible that one of someone's friend's mum gave me that was shoved in a corner somewhere, and I read it, and it was like, the Spirit hit me in the face, the pages illuminated, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, I just need this. And I was reading and reading, and I couldn't get enough. I was just like, pow. And to be honest, I can't really think of an exact moment. Well, I can think of that moment, and I'm pretty sure that's the moment where I was like, right, I gotta do this. I gotta do this for real. Like, I don't want people, I don't want church, I don't want anything, but I want you, Jesus. And it was awesome. And I fell so in love with the words on these pages. They were just like so healing and soothing to my heart. It was next level. It was so beautiful. So in my newfound faith, I didn't really have anyone to talk to about. So I was looking online, and I was just searching everywhere. I was hungry. And I was sitting at my laptop in my lounge room, and it was like the Spirit just said, it was an ad on the laptop, and the Spirit said to me, you are going to go to Bible college. And I was like, what? No way. I became a Christian like 2 minutes ago, and I'm already in uni doing something else. Like, I can't do this. This is nuts. Anyway, so I left it, and it just niggled at the back of my mind. It just wouldn't leave me alone. So I was like, all right, fine. God, if this is something that you want me to do, then you need to confirm it like a million times. And literally throughout my day, it was like, what bang, confirmation, what bang, confirmation, what bang, confirmation. Like, you know, and I knew that that was God. It was so loud and so clear. So I think the total of time was about 3 weeks, going from like, okay, Jesus, I love you. I want to be with you. Like always, I want this for real, to seeing this ad or whatever it was. I was searching on the internet to like, you got to go to Bible college. So I came home and I made some phone calls, and I got in touch with a college in Sydney called Alpha Crucis. So I rang Alpha Crucis College, and the lady on the phone was really helpful. She was like, oh my gosh, we just had our interviews today. Do you reckon you could come down tomorrow? And because term is starting like really quickly. I think it was like a week and a half that term was starting. And I was like, what? Okay. And so I said, yes, okay, hung up the phone. And the next day Aiden was in preschool, so I ended up, I live on the coast, so it's about an hour and a half to this place called Chester Hill, and it was 2 trains worth. So I went down and I had the interview, it was all great. But I come home and I was like, oh, I physically cannot do this. Like I don't have the time to catch 2 trains for 2 hours. Like I have Aiden. I don't see how I can make this work. And I just felt comforted, and I felt at peace, and just keep digging. I just keep digging. So I was like, okay, what have I got to lose? So I kept digging. I came home and I was like, and the idea of maybe I could move there dropped into my spirit. And the reality of it was crazy, but when God's got his hand on something, there ain't nothing stopping that thing. So I went home, made a few phone calls on some rentals, booked in for a look on the Thursday, and I also booked in to check a preschool in the area on the Thursday. So I went down. Yes, all was good. And the guy said, oh, yep, all good. You can literally have the keys tomorrow. Okay. I went and looked at the preschool. They had availability, the times that I needed that suited my class times. Okay. And I just remember thinking, like, I don't know how, like, I have no money. I have nothing. I'm in uni doing something else. But, like, the doors were just opening. Like, it was insane. So a friend of mine, and he was the only guy that I knew that was Christian, and I downloaded my story to him, and I just, what? And he was like, you know what? This has to happen. I'm going to hire a truck. We're going to make this happen. Because class started on the Monday. We're going to get you into this apartment. We'll pick up the keys tomorrow, which is Friday, and we'll move on the weekend, and you'll be in class on Monday. And I was like, what? Okay, God, obviously this is what you want, so let's do this. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. So over the weekend, I put my life in a truck. Thanks to my friend, he helped me. It was just me and him. And I remember we were moving till, oh, it was stupid. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And I had to be in class that Monday morning at 9 a.m. Like, just off the Richter insane. And you know what? I was in that class, and I remember my very first class was Christian Worldview, and the teacher was speaking about evangelism, and I died a little bit inside. Why? Because I'd never even heard that word before. That's how unfamiliar I was to this environment. And I just pretty much in the space of, I don't even know, like weeks, 2 weeks, week and a half, picked up my entire life and just did this. And, you know, looking back, like, that is just obedience plus. I kind of can't believe that I did that, but God was totally on it. God was with me. It wasn't easy, but every door opened. So that's how I knew that just God was on it. And so that's pretty much my how I became a Christian. I literally became a Christian, and it felt like 5 seconds later, he said, come on, little miss, let's go to Bible college. And off I went. I was completely oblivious. I had no idea. I knew nobody. I was a single mom. I was so shy and so broken. But I did it. And I wouldn't be where I am without it. So that is my story of how I became a Christian, and the whole going to Bible college is kind of tied into it. So yeah, that's my story. I do have more stories. I have lots more stories like that. So within 5 months of being at Bible college, and I remember them saying, oh, they don't call it bridal college for nothing. And I was like, that's the lamest thing I've ever heard. Well, you know what? God has many tricks up his sleeve, and I met my husband 5 months later and was married 11 months, like within 11 months of meeting my husband. So that's another story for another day. So yeah, that's my testimony on meeting Jesus. And my gosh, if Jesus can take someone like me who was so anti, I was so anti, and I was so hurt, and I was so broken, and he can just, I don't know what he does. He just, he's just magical, and I can't express, words can't express what and how he works. Like, it is, nothing comes out. Like, he is just above and beyond in every sense of the word. And if you are searching or you are dabbling or anything, just pick up the Bible, and read New Testament. Pick up a version that is easy to read. Don't jump into something crazy like King James or something, because it has to speak to you right where you're at. Don't worry about people. Don't worry about church. It's just you and God. You and the Holy Spirit, you and Jesus. Just let him speak to your heart right where you are. So yeah, that's my story. It's a crazy one, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. So no more teeth for me, just God, God, God. Whoop, whoop. So thank you again. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I will be doing more videos and stories. If you would like that, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to share, like, blah, 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 all that stuff. So yeah, have an amazing week. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing life. Mwah. I love you.